Hello, my name is Thione Niang. I am a social entrepreneur, a farmer, and a presidential candidate for the elections in Senegal. Well, I have been working at home for a long time now, this past 9 years, since my return back in Senegal, and been in the countryside of the country to try in my own capacity to bring solutions in the many challenges that we face, such as agriculture, such as energy, such as training skills for young people and for women, and etc. And as you all know, in Senegal, in Africa, politicians have a lot of pull and a lot of power. You can do so much at one point, but if you don't have the state with you, things are limited. And I've seen the result of some of the things that I'm able to do with my team on the ground, the impact it's been having. Then I know for sure if we can expand this impact throughout the nation, we can have a very, very, very good country where people can have hope. People can be proud to be Senegalese, and then encounter and help have a better quality of life for them. So this is why, with the people that I've been working with the people that I've been engaging with in the country, we've decided to build a political movement and extend the model work we've been doing around the nation in a bigger capacity, so it can have a bigger impact for our nation. JEF means action, because our country for so long been having a lot of politicians. We have a lot of people who get involved in politics and etc. But the problem that we have in our continent, in our country, but particularly, is that we do a lot of talking, but there's less actions. And I believe that this is the only reason why everybody's doing well except for us. Because many countries that are successful are focusing on more to what can we do, what needs to be done, and what can we do now. Let's get it done. The ideas are good, talking is good, the speeches are good, but doing is better. It's in doing that you get things tested. It's in doing that you see result. And I've seen in Singapore, in countries like Rwanda that just started not long ago, it's in doing this is being an example now of nation building. Then I say, okay, so this is what my country needs. My philosophy and the political movement that I'm building has to be about action. I've been in country for 9 years back home now. I've never done any public speaking, TV interviews. Everything was focused on action and action and action for 9 years, just to show the country that it's in the actions that we do, the small collective actions, that will propel to success, to impact, to what we want to do in the country. This is why I named it JEF. The we, not me first, collective call for responsibility for everyone. We, not me is the slogan of the campaign, which means ñun la du man. It's not me, it's all of us. And if we all participate, we will be able to do something great for our country. So this is the reason why I responded to the people around me, but also to call them into action. The main thing is about, first of all, education, l'économie de la connaissance. Because what the French colonists did when they did colonization was to, if you are a stripper population of their culture, you have to first go to education. And what they've done is gone to elementary school, take people's mind and change it into their own language, educating them in their own culture, the way they eat, the way they dress, the way they everything else. And if you plant the seeds on those kids, in few years you don't have to do anything else. The ball will continue to roll by itself. And that's what they were able to do to us. And I want to undo that. in the same method they utilize. That's what I want to do, but I want to do the opposite of it. What I have is not a program for our country. I have a vision for our country. Because to me, it's not going to be a program that's going to build Senegal. It's going to take vision and action plan behind a vision and the right people to materialize that vision. Just like the Chinese did a few years ago, they wanted to be the factory of the world. It was a vision, and they utilized all the means to get there, to make it a reality. Today we all see what they're able to do. South Korea did the same thing in technology. China, Japan did the same thing in IT. Rwanda is building its vision. Today Senegal needs a vision, and my vision is to build, first of all, the Senegalese first. And from the elementary school, we build the young person who is proud to be a Senegalese. How we do that is, about everything we gotta learn it from our own mother language, mother tongue. If it's science and technology, whatever, first. So that way we don't think from somebody's language, but we think with proudness from our own language. Then the educational system that we inherited from colonization has to disappear. We have to create our own educational system, built upon our own values, open to the world with the new world order of openness, but rooted in our own culture. And the way to do that is to make sure that we start studying about, in school here, we study about Jeanne d'Arc, Jean-Paul Sartre, Rousseau, etc. We have to create a system where our kids from elementary school will learn about our own models, the Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, the Sheikh Anta Diop, Len Nkrumah, the Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse, etc. Our own philosophers, our own writers, our own scientists be models of success to our young people, so they can read their writings, understand them, and then focus on the educational system on the side, on science and technology. Because today, in science and technology is the new way of controlling the world, and Africa is behind the science and technology. Instead of studying in science and technology, we're still studying philosophy, we're still studying history of French colonization, we're studying colonisation française, civilisation française, and etc. I want them to focus on science and technology, and I want the kids, also the elementary school, to be a laboratory to find talent for these kids, and then to mentor them, put them in the right channels so they can excel, create, be a part of the solution-making process of the country, with proud of who they are. Then finally, focus also on opening them to the world. To be able to open the world after their mother tongue, they have to study English from elementary school. Why? It's because the science language in the world today is English. Our scientists always need a translator for that. The diplomatic language is English in the world. Our ministers and our government officials, when they travel overseas, they need translation. Our business people need English because the business language around the world is English. When they travel the world, our business people automatically in airports, I meet them in airports asking for translation. They become automatically, they need help because they cannot speak the language. If you look at even further down, most of the contracts that we have on the oil sector or the gas or the gold or our natural resources, all of those contracts are in English. You always need a lawyer who speaks English. The leaders of our countries don't understand how to read it, how to understand it. And even our public sector is the same thing. So we want to make sure English is a part of what we're giving our kids so they can communicate to the world with no complex. And they'll be able also to be able to have a better understanding how the world works. So this is my educational idea, vision of what we're going to need to build our country. And also, in my vision, I've done, I've announced that what I will do also is to remodel all of the elementary schools in the country. Because you learn civism and you learn loving your country and learning to dream from elementary school, from childhood, early school with your children. So when they come to school here in Africa, most of the schools are not even built in a way where kids can dream. And to do that, I will take the young Senegalese throughout the country to help the maçons, the menuisiers, the etc. to build them in cooperative. They will help me to remodel all the schools so the schools can be a model of a place where kids can dream and be a part of the process of solutions in our country. Well, before that, I think after education, we got to talk about agriculture is at the heart of my vision for the country. We cannot continue to be a country of everything and nothing at the same time. We cannot continue to be a country that's very wealthy, that has all the natural resources, but mostly Senegal today naturally should have been a country of farmer. Senegal should have been a country that feeds West Africa and the world. We have sun, we have the young people, we have arable land in the country, we got water. All it takes is vision that I'm talking about. So you can drive young people back into the farms, drive the farmers back into the farms, create a new model of a farmer where he'll be a rich man, he'll be a model that we can look for success, that turning farming sexy and attractive for the population so we can produce what we eat, so we can transform what we eat, so we can commercialize what we eat, and we can export what we eat globally, not only in Africa, but globally. And this creates not only autonomy, independence, to be able to control your own food, and natural, it's also a national security for the country, but also it brings money back in the country when we be able to import and create a lot of jobs in an industry that creates jobs for women, for young people, for farmers. And this will help us to rebuild our villages, because that's where it starts. If we don't build the villages, the rural side of Senegal, the rural side of Africa, whatever we do in the cities and forget about the village, there's going to be a repercussion. There's not going to be a successful country. There's not going to be a developed country, because the heart of our country is in the villages. That's where everything comes from. That's why when I move back home, I live in the village, I work in the village, I go farm in the village, so we can help redynamize our villages and give it another look. So inspiration, but not misery. So what would I tell to my Senegalese fellows, wherever they are in the world, is that we have a very specific time in history. Our country is at the crossroad of history, that we need to make the right decision. We need to plant the right seeds for not only us, but for generations to come and generations who are not born yet. It is in our responsibility, or I will say, in our utmost responsibility, to choose the right leaders in the we not me, the nous pas moi, that will drive the change that we want to see. The change will be to give hope to our people. The change will be to give dignity back to the Senegalese. We see our young people throughout our nation right now dying in the Atlantic Ocean every day, hundreds and thousands of them, in silence of our authority, in silence of our authorities, in silence of the entire country, like there's nothing happening. I see it every day, living on the coast, young people giving their life in the ocean in search of opportunity that they can change the lives of their parents. They can participate in bringing dignity in their families. They want what we had here overseas. Now, how much is given, much is required. And these young people, they need us. Our people who are going to hospitals at night from villages on the charrettes with the horses for hundreds of kilometers looking for hospitals, looking for doctors because their daughter or their niece or their wife is having a baby and they cannot find a doctor. Having babies in taxis or in charrettes, unfortunately, they need us to act. These people who are dying in the hospitals, in the car, in Jarem, in Kaolack, in Kédougou, in Ziguinchor, because they don't have 5,000 francs or 10,000 francs to buy a medicine, to see a doctor. These people need us. They need us to act. They need us on the job. Our young people who are desperate in Nicaragua, here in the cold in France, desperate in New York, looking for opportunities in a country that they know not the language, the culture, or the weather. They need us to act. This is the reason why I've taken my responsibility with you to do what we have to do, to respond to the call of our generation, that it's not time to be comfortable anymore. It's not time to say it's not my thing to do politics. It's not time to say I have enough. My family have enough. Politics is not for me. It's not time to say, congratulations, I'm behind you, and don't act. We need actions. We need people who can roll up the sleeves. We need people who can think beyond themselves. We need people who can, come and plant the seeds for the generations of your children and my children, so they can inherit a country they can be proud of, a country they can look back in history to say, you guys did it for us, and we're proud of you. This is why I get involved, and I know this is the reason why some of you are involved. And for you who are hesitating to get involved, I'm calling on you to not let this 2 months pass without getting involved. History has to be made, and we cannot wait for somebody else to make history for us. But history has to be made for us, by us. And it's got to be made for us, by us, not tomorrow, but now. Not tomorrow, not now, but yesterday. It's already too late. So I call on you to join us in this movement of Jeff. Not action, not talk, but actions. Because that's what our country needs. So we can rewrite the history of Senegal and recreate hope and dignity for our people. God bless you.